水に抗わず水面に指先を突き立て切れ目を作り出す。その切れ目に体を滑り込ませていく。
This is needlessly sexual. Alright, now for what I think is the first time, I will be reviewing an entire TV show. Said show will be an anime called Free. It's kind of like Yahoo! Airing from 2013 to 2014, this is a story about a group of teenage boys and their bonds formed through swimming. Enthralling, I know. But despite the simple premise, Free manages to be a very, very good show with great drama, animation, comedy, and a surprising amount of heart. But what exactly makes this show stand out? Let's see why. This is Free. The strongest aspect of Free is the roster of characters. There are more, but most of the subplots revolve around a specific 5. 4 of them are in the Iwatobi Swim Club, and the last one is on the rivaling Samezuka Academy swim team. First up is Makoto Tachibana, who I'm pretty sure that everybody who's seen this show loves. He looks really buff and strong and tall. Well, Japan tall, so 6 foot even. But he's really a sweet guy. He's a nice friend, he's good with kids, he always has that warm smile. He's like a huge teddy bear, I just want to hug him every time he's on screen. He swims backstroke and is captain at the Iwatobi Swim Club. He usually serves as the everyman of the show, the person that the audience can usually relate to. Also, you might want to get used to him absently staring at nothing in particular. He kind of does that a lot. Next up on the roster is Haruka Nanase, known in the show as Haru since Haruka is such a girly name. All the 5 characters have this problem, it's a theme. Haru is who I think is supposed to be the main character of the show. Now, I don't know the fanbase, so I'm not aware of how many people I'm offending, but Haru is by far the weakest character on Free. He's pretty much the brooding, introverted Zuko type, except in this case we have no idea why he can't just lighten the hell up and smile occasionally because everybody is nice to him. I keep waiting for the episode that tells us why Haru is how he is, but that never comes. Ever. We get backstory episodes for several characters, but not one for Haru. All of his character can just be boiled down to, he likes swimming. That is it. When you get right down to it, he really doesn't have much of a character. He has some defining points besides swimming, like enjoying mackerel or only ever swimming freestyle, something that you will hear him say approximately a bajillion times, by the way. But other than that, we as the audience know very little about him. We know pretty much nothing about his past, his experiences. There's really nothing for the audience to think about. I mean, seriously, even the Haru in the parody series has the distinction of being a very bizarre kind of insane.
Haru, look, water. Haru, we can't get in. Yeah, it's probably too cold. We'll get sick. You know what I'm sick of? All your Haru. I'm assuming direct control. Haru, no! Give me that. Oh my god, he's got a gun! Everyone step away from the brain. He shot Haru! That's right. I'm in charge now.
Haru? We're gonna throw the tablets in the water now.
Yes, I am Haru.
Ooh, that's probably not good.
Yes, there is a parody series, and yes, it is hilarious. But back in the original, almost 90% of his screen time is either him staring off into the distance or swimming freestyle. There is just nothing to this guy. I'll stop for now, but believe me, we will get back to the subject later. We also have Nagisa Hazuki, who I am still not entirely convinced isn't somehow secretly a girl.
Haru-chan, Mako-chan, 久しぶり。僕も岩飛高校に入ったんだ。
Nagisa is the enthusiastic little kid who is somehow 15 to 17. He's the one who originally suggested forming a swim club. At first I thought he was just there to fill in the little kid slot they have on most TV shows. And for the most part he is, but he does get his moments. There is some genuine emotion underneath all the wide-eyed enthusiasm and cream bread, whatever the hell that even is. He swims breaststroke for Iwatobi, and I give the show props for not once making a joke about that. Makoto, Haru, and Nagisa were all on a relay team when they were younger with a 4th kid, Rin Matsuoka, but Rin moved to Australia for middle school to train in hopes of becoming an Olympic swimmer. When he comes back, he's more competitive, cold, and unhappy than the other 3 remember him. He also grew shark teeth, something that they never really explain, and they seriously didn't joke about as much as they probably should have. He goes to Samezuka Academy and joins their swim team, doing freestyle and butterfly, eventually becoming captain of the swim team in Season 2. Throughout the first season, he is rough around the edges, to put it lightly, but I really liked his character because, unlike Haru, he had a developed personality and history. He acts mean, but there is a solid reason behind it, and the show never really frames him as the villain. And that's just Rin from Season 1. When he comes out of his shell in Season 2, he becomes the best character on the show. Season 2 Rin is one of my favorite characters in anything ever. He's nice but not perfect, he has a solid identity, he's really relatable, and he is part of some of the strongest moments in the series. Throughout the show, Rin just seems to be the one doing things, while Haru is just standing around waxing philosophical about water. And also, since the audience probably knows the most about Rin out of any of the characters, and he's part of pretty much the plot of every episode in the show, I think he's actually a better candidate for the main character than Haru is, even if he gets less screen time. By the way, I want to bring up something about the character designs on this show. I like how the shape and placement of the character's eyes can play a role in the personality of that character. Makoto's eyes go down on the outside, which aptly gives him a kind, cuddly sort of look. Nagisa's eyes are big and bright, which is also fitting. Interestingly enough, Rin and Haru seem to have the exact same eye design, I guess to show the similarities between their characters that the show keeps telling us exist. It's very neutral, it can be cold or warm depending on the rest of the facial expression. This brings us to the last character, Rei Ryugazaki, who swims butterfly for Iwatobi. He joins the club in the third episode and becomes quickly indoctrinated into the group. His eyes have an oddly narrow look. It looks like you could blindfold him with a piece of yarn. On pretty much any other character this might look menacing, but this is Rei we're talking about here. Yeah, Rei's a loser and this show knows it. He's narcissistic, a total dork, and is the butt of many jokes. There are so many awkward things about him, from his strange obsession with beauty to his shameless smugness about everything.
負ける気がしねえ。
奇遇ですね。僕も勝てる気しかしません。
Yeah, you sure showed him. But I think what comes out on top is that ridiculous laugh at the most inane things.
いかがです？この完璧なまでの美しさ。
It's like the writers thought that they had a quota to fill, so they just shoved all the stereotypical anime cliches into this one character. Rei had the potential to be insufferable, and he does push the envelope on occasion, but the show does use him sparingly. I also like how he's usually paired up with Nagisa, a good foil. Though, like Haru, he does stand out in a sea of very good characters. If the cast was a boy band, Rei would be that one really dorky one whose fanbase you will never understand. So, wait. Nah, that's gotta be a coincidence. There are more characters, and I will get to them, but those are the main 5. It's a very solid cast for a drama series, if containing a few clunkers here and there. Without good characters, the thin premise for this show would have made it thoroughly unremarkable, but they make it something much more than that. For the most part, the animation on this show is very good. It has nice character design, good line work, and very, very impressive water effects. That one gratuitous shot of showing off the budget is truly a thing of beauty. But there are 2 things about this animation that does genuinely get under my skin. First off is by far my biggest pet peeve of the show. They never draw the entire mouth. Seriously, if the mouth is closed, 99% of the time it is broken in a place or two. Why? That doesn't even make sense! Mouths don't just disappear in random places when closed. And it's not stylistic either, it just looks terrible. There is absolutely no reason why the animators couldn't just draw an entire line. And then there's that ridiculous eye shimmering. It's not as constant as the broken mouth lines, but when it shows up, it gets sort of silly. And when those eyes start flickering, a lot of the subtlety that the scene can build up is clocked in the back of the head with a shovel. Speaking of which, there's also the score on this show. It's not bad, but it is pretty weird. Often it will take an emotional point and just roll with it immediately. it can get kind of jarring sometimes. For example, here is a completely unedited scene. I did nothing to this footage.
僕も胸を張って先輩と同じチームで泳げるようになりたいから。
チームか。俺も春たちのこと言ってらんねえ。ちゃんとしたチームもできてね。
Seriously, what was that? It's not annoying, but it can get a little silly sometimes. But my favorite piece of score is this one.
春はきっと泳げればそれでいいんだよ。昔の春に戻ったんだ。
Am I really the only one who hears 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton in there? Look, this is seriously not doing this show any favors.
もともと勝ち負けとかタイムとか。
These jokes write themselves, people. On the subject of music that does not do the show any favors is the opening and closing themes. The opening themes take it way, way too seriously. And the closing themes do the exact opposite. What group of dorks sings this? Wait, really? So, they are a boy band. I'm not really sure how to react to that. All things considered, the translation from Japanese to English is actually pretty good. There are very few moments that were lost in the process. However, one line is just mind-boggling, and I think it was just as ridiculous in the original Japanese. For a little context, due to the plot of the week, Makoto, Rei, Haru, and Nagisa are all waiting out some rain in an old abandoned lighthouse. And then comes one of the most baffling lines in anything I have ever heard.
この水、まだ期限来てないから、沸かして飲めるかも。
Wow. Okay, you could say that since it has not expired and still appears to be factory sealed, there is no reason to not drink it as is. You could also say that since water bottles expire due to the chemicals from the plastic leaching into the water, boiling it would just do jack anyway. But I think that my biggest problem is that they're discussing the ramifications of drinking old bottled water when there is literally an endless amount of fresh water falling from the sky outside. Hello? And with that very odd note, we wrap up part 1. All in all, the foundation set up by the characters is a very, very good one, and it sets the scene for some really great story arcs and plot lines among the characters. We'll be talking about those next week, but for now, I'll see you guys later, at the Season 3 finale of The Show with No Name.
Aren't you that kid that started that doomsday cult?